Hi, my name's Gav and welcome to the channel. Look, if you're into power winging or indeed you're thinking about getting into it, these must-have accessories may not only save your session, but one time may even save your life. Now, I've spent many hours out on the water with more wipeouts than I care to remember, gear tests, and indeed some very sketchy situations. And I've narrowed it down to my 8 top power wing accessories that I think you need to consider. We're talking about gear that makes you safer, go for longer, ride smarter, and indeed stash faster. So if that sounds good to you, stick around and you'll find out how they can help you. Before we do get started, I want to remind you that the sole purpose of this channel is to raise money for Bear Cottage, the children's hospice based here in Sydney. They provide 24-hour palliative care for pediatrics and they need our help. By liking, subscribing and sharing this video, you really help generate a revenue through advertising. So please do your bit. If indeed you want to do a donation, then please reach out to me and I will send you the details. Now, on that note, I want to do a massive shout out to the brands that support me on this journey, and that's North, Armstrong, WSS Boards, the Foil Board Company, Foil Sessions app, and of course, Code Foils. Thank you guys. Without you, I simply couldn't do this. Now, first up, we have the all-important stash belt, and I think this is a staple for any power winger. Now, not only does it obviously allow you to stash the power wing and enjoy those sessions going downwind with nothing in your hand, it's really important for deploying it at the right time. Now, what I mean by that is that most people, when they get a power wing for the first time, is they grab it in their hands and they go out on the water with the board under their arms like they would a wing. Now, this isn't necessarily the best way to do it, unless of course you have perfect crosswind constant conditions. My preference is to put the power wing stashed away into a belt and paddle out to the wind line. It not only gives you a constant breeze, but it gives you time. It sets yourself up, and so you have the ability to get up nicely in your own time. Secondly, having a decent stash belt will allow you to add other accessories. So for example, a harness hook, which in my opinion is a must. I know that's controversial, but I think it's really important with power winging. Also, it allows you to attach things like a power wing leash or indeed a board leash. And then lastly, of course, the main point of it is to be able to stash your wing away. As I said, this allows you to ride the bumps with nothing in your hand and experience the magic of downwinding. So stash belts, big thumbs up, they're a must have. Now, I've tried a bunch of different stash belts, and in my opinion, the best on the market so far is the Ozone stash belt. I find that this is lightweight, it can accommodate all the extras I'll talk about in this video, and it's easy to stow and launch a power wing due to the lycra type materials they've used. I'm sure there are some other ones that are coming out on the market soon, and if you've tried one out there, then please let me know in the comments below. It'd be really interesting to see what's coming out. Now, next up, I want to talk about board leashes, and I think it's important you stay away from coiled board leashes. In the early stages in particular, this is a major tangle hazard, and there's nothing worse than getting your lines tangled around the coiled leash because it takes so long to rectify it. Not only does this take time out of your session, it also just makes you frustrated and takes away from the whole experience. So if you can find yourself a straight leash, something that does have some spring in it, well, I think you're going to be saving yourself a lot of headache. Now, keeping on the theme of leashes, I now want to talk about a power wing leash. So something that connects the either front or back of the bar to something on your belt. Now, the huge advantage of this is it keeps the power wing within arm's reach when you have a wipeout. It also allows you to let go of it, clamber back onto the board, have a rest. In the early stages, you're going to be really tired, and allowing yourself just to let go and just catch your breath, I think, is really important. Now, a great side effect of having a power wing leash is you'll find there are less tangles because the bar can't get wrapped up within itself. Again, I think in the early stages, it's really important that you do that. Now, some of the key features that I think you need to look for in a leash is it has to be the right length. It doesn't want to be coiled. It needs to have a quick release system. So indeed, you can get rid of it if you need to. And it's universal. You can attach it to any point on the bar. Now, interestingly, the Floorboard company have actually produced one already. So I'll put a link in the description below. It ticks all of the boxes. I've used it extensively, and I have to say it's a big thumbs up for me. Now, I think it's worth pointing out that I don't actually use a Parawing leash anymore. Now, I did for the first 6 months, and it definitely saved a handful of sessions, more than I'd like to count. But it comes to a point where your skill level can compensate for not having one. Yes, of course, that comes with risk, and I have nearly lost a Parawing on more than one occasion. But for me personally, I prefer to take that risk and have that little bit of extra performance. Again, it comes down to your skill, your ability, but I would highly recommend in the early stages, it's something you look into. Now, next, I want to talk about Full Sessions app. Now, this is a new one for me. It's something that I have just been using recently, and I've absolutely fallen in love with it. Yes, of course, there are lots of apps that you can buy and download and use to track your session. But the thing that I love about this, it's an app designed by foilers for foilers, specifically for our sport. For example, accurate tack and jibe count, percent of successful ones, obviously all the regular tracking and stats, but the one I really like is the ability to tell you how long it will take you to swim home. Now, obviously, this is a worst case scenario, but it's something that I've had to do on several occasions. In fact, it's the one bit of safety advice that I can give anybody that's going out into the open ocean. Don't go out further than you know that you can swim home on your own. That is really important. Now, next up, I want to talk about impact protection, because in the early stages of learning to Parawing, I think I had some of the closest calls I've had in my foiling journey so far in terms of injuries. I think this is the combination of using big foils at very high loaded speeds with power in your hand. That combination can make some really awkward falls. And as I said, I had some close calls where I saw foils going past my eyes, and it gave me a little bit of a scare, if I'm honest with you. So I think the way to mitigate this, especially in the early stages, is of course wear a helmet, think about an impact vest, and then layer up with neoprene. I think if you take those 3 safety features, you'll be well placed. So next up, we have probably the cheapest, but in my opinion, the most important safety feature, and that's the good old J-knife. I think I spent about 15 bucks on mine, and I've actually had to use it in anger once before. A really nasty situation where the Parawing got wrapped around my foil, the lines were around my neck, and I was getting washed in the white water. I pulled out the J-knife, cut the lines, and everything was good. But it could have gone really badly really quickly. So definitely go out, buy yourself a J-knife, put it in your stash belt, and make sure you know exactly where it is so you can get it in an emergency. Now, next up, I want to talk about the Quiver Bag. Now, what I mean by this is the ability to take out more than one Parawing on a session. Now, this is just incredible that we can do this. So I regularly will go out with one Parawing, and then I'll either size up or down depending on the conditions. It allows you to stay out in the water when things change, or if indeed you just got it wrong, you feel tired, or something has gone wrong, like you've let go or had to use your J-knife on another Parawing. Right now, there isn't a lot on the market, which is disappointing, and I'm sure we will see this in the months and years to come. But actually, all I use at the moment is a camelback. I took out the bladder, and I've just got an open area where I can put in my Parawing and then go off, have a session. I can swap them out at will. It's a really great feature, something that I highly recommend. Of course, it means you've got to buy more than one, but I think as time goes on, you'll find you'll need to do that. Now, my top tip for this is to make sure you've got a good spread in the 2 Parawings that you take out with you. For example, if I'm going out in the water with a 3 meter, the forecast is for it to drop slightly. I'm going to put a 5 in my backpack so that I know I can bring that out and it will get me home if I get in trouble. Now, last and by no means least is the good old harness lines. Look, if you've got any ambition of doing upwind, downwind sends with a Parawing, spending any time going upwind, I think in the early stages, you need to get on a harness line. It really makes going upwind easier. It means you can go longer, there's less fatigue, and you're potentially going to save yourself from injury as well. Now, of course, harness lines are nothing new. There's heaps of them on the market at the moment, but there's not a lot for powering specific. In fact, I've actually just made my own with some Dyneema spliced with some bungee inside, and I found that works really well because you can pack it down, it doesn't get in the way, but it's always there to hook in if you need it. I'm sure this space will get filled in the next year or so with lots of companies coming out with some great ideas. I've heard rumors of actually reversing the theory so that the harness line is attached to yourself and then you connect it onto the bar with a loop. Let's see where it goes. It's pretty exciting. But that all being said, I think it's really important in the early stages you jump on board. It will make a difference. It will pay dividends in the end, I guarantee you. There you go. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. Like with always, please can you like and subscribe? It really helps me grow the channel and help Bear Cottage as much as possible. I'll see you on the water again soon.